everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Dark Art Society podcast. I'm your host, Chet Czar. Today we have a great interview with an amazing artist named Shawn Alexander. You may know his work from comics or from his paintings. I know him from his fine art oil paintings. They're amazing. And his comics are incredible too. He's got a new project called, I believe it's called Scrooge, A Christmas Carol. And it is an illustrated novel. It's like the text of the book, and he's illustrated it. I've seen samples. They're really incredible, and he's crowdfunding that. The link to support that will be in the description of this podcast, and he also mentions the web address in the interview. Yeah, it's a really great interview. It's kind of short. It's only an hour, but his time was limited, but really, really good interview. Really, really good. Super cool guy. Anyway, so that's coming up. And what's going on with me? Just commissions. I'm just working on still my commission list, which I'm almost done. You see one back here. I've got my roof. I'm getting my roof. They're starting to fix my roof tomorrow, replace my roof. So that's exciting. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Just working on commissions, and I'm posting everything on my Patreon. If you want to see what I'm working on, you can join my Patreon for only $1 a month. You could even try it for free. There's free, I think it's a free week or something. You could sign up for it and check it out. Lots of content, lots and lots of content on there. And if you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/darkartsociety and join for as little as $1 to support the podcast. As far as sponsorship, Skullshop, SKULLSHOPPE.com. They sponsor the podcast. And if you join at the $5 and above level on the Dark Art Society Patreon, you get a 30% discount code for their human skulls. And their human skulls are already priced really well. The skulls are so good that I don't even know how he prices them. They're so realistic and amazing. So, and then you get 30% off on top of that. So that's patreon.com/darkartsociety, and Skullshop is SKULLSHOPPE.com. Okay. I'm going to make this short because it's late at night and I got to get to sleep because the roofers are coming tomorrow at 7. I had to get this intro recorded tonight, though, before I went to sleep, because there's going to be people walking on my roof all day tomorrow. So it's probably going to not be good for recording interviews and intros. So that's it. A really great interview coming up with Shawn Alexander, and I hope you like it. All right. Thanks. Here we go. Hi, Jason.
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I've been wanting to have you on the podcast for so long, and I never asked you. Then I asked you a little while back, and then you asked me to get in touch with your management or something, and then I got too busy and forgot. And then recently, somebody got in touch with me about this project you got, this crowdfunding, the Scrooge project you got. So it's like, hey, perfect opportunity to actually get you on the pod. So welcome.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. I really just kind of like watching your advertisements for your sales and stuff.
My rants, my accidental figuring out of the algorithm. It's so absurd. Oh my God. It just is like the perfect example of how fucked up social media is.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So disgruntled. I'm like, yes.
So angry. It's all anger too. While I'm doing it, I'm just like seething. But
it's how it all feels.
I know. I think that's why they kind of have taken off, is because everyone feels that way, at least, especially the artists,
Yeah.
So anyway, you're like a big deal in comics, but I know you primarily as an artist. That's how I got turned on to your work, is when you were showing in the scene more, and I've always been a huge fan of your paintings.
Thank you.
Amazing shit. I mean, I really love your work, and but you've been doing mostly more comics than fine art, right?
Yeah, for the last probably 5 years, 6 years, I've
Okay.
been predominantly doing comics. Yeah. Um, I needed to kind of at that time, especially with my second kid coming on the way, I kind of felt like I needed to I was dividing my attention.
Yeah, right.
Um, if I wasn't doing a show, I was drawing a comic and vice versa, but I wasn't giving one thing like all of my attention. And then
Mm,
I kind of I felt like I needed to pick one. And at that time, especially with the being able to be mobile and always working, comics just kind of became it. And so
right.
that's what I've been kind of just putting to the grindstone for the last few years.
Yeah, it makes sense when you have a family too. That's like I didn't even start seriously attempting to do my fine art until like my youngest kid was like 12 or 13. So it was like, okay, you can take care of yourself now. So, so it's like now I'm going to teach myself to paint. I'm going to do all the crazy, working 7 days a week to try and get a fine art career going. And
Really?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. I didn't start painting until I was 33. I was in makeup effects for 20 years before that.
You're one of the makeup effects guys as well.
Yeah.
That's how you and Adam know each other, or is that?
Yeah. Yeah, we worked at the same shop.
Oh no! Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah, I mean
Oh,
he
that's so cool.
he came and did worked like I think like a couple months. I think it was on Swamp Thing, the cable series. Which is from the 90s. And he came in at the shop I was kind of like a regular at, and we met there and just totally hit it off and jammed once. We jammed in my, in my house
Oh,
one time
dude.
before he started Tool. It's so crazy. So crazy. But
That's
yeah,
nice. My first ever anything that I was serious about was special effects. I wanted to do makeup and I wanted to
I,
be
kn-
Tom Savini.
I saw that. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I never knew that. I was doing a little bit of research on you, and I saw that in an interview, and I'm like, wow, I had no idea because like makeup effects people are like a certain type of person. It's such a niche career, that it attracts a certain kind of person. It's like artists, but a certain kind of artist, artists that are into horror and monsters and blood and guts and stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I feel like I've genuinely been it's so funny in this, you're like, we used the phrase before, like a fine artist drawing comics or something else. Like, I genuinely feel like I've been a special effects artist making comics and art. Like, it's just like, if I have a hobby, it's literally just trying to learn that stuff. And like, I'm so in the amateur stage, but like, yeah, man, there's this, and I love all of it, the makeup and all of my 5.5-year-old will, he's into it, so he'll come up
oh,
on like a
cool.
Tuesday, like a Tuesday, and he'll be like, "Let's do makeup," and I have
It's so
zombie
fun.
face.
It's so fun. It's so fun, especially when you're a kid, man. Because I started messing with it when I was like maybe 9 or 10 years old. Like I got a makeup kit from my neighbor's father, who was a nurse, and he said they used to do these casualty simulations to train people, and so as part of it, you got a makeup box and a little pamphlet that told you how to like make a broken nose, how to make a black eye, how to make a burn, how to make whatever wounds, how to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
how to make blood, and it had like limited amount of stuff. And so the first thing I did is started doing stuff for that, I saw in Dawn of the Dead. I was trying to do that's the one that really got me, was that Tom Savini in Dawn of the Dead is the one that was like, I have to learn how to do this.
Day of the Dead was mine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're probably like 10
I fell
years
in love
younger
with
than me,
Bum.
so it makes sense. Yeah, he was amazing. That's a great makeup. It's a classic.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So you're a George Romero fan.
Yeah, all of it's fan. I really like, even in my comics work, when I'm doing line art and I have a colorist, I'll weirdly let the colorist know that they need to worry about blood. Like, I draw the shit out of blood everywhere, and like it feels like it's anytime something happens, I just get excited because I'm like I'm fulfilling that kind of like hole of special effects artist. I'm like, oh, I'll draw the blood. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you made the right choice because, after I did it for like 20 years and I'm like, it was great. It's a great job. I'm not complaining, pays well, and it's fun, but you're able to like express yourself more through comics, I think. Especially you're writing your own stories and stuff, whereas at a certain point in effects, you're a pair of hands for someone else and everything is art directed kind of, unless you're doing, unless you're doing concept art, which I was doing a little bit too, but even then, you're in certain parameters that you might not want to, or might not really care about.
Yeah.
But I envy you, in the comics field, because that's something I always wanted to do.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I love the paintings and the album covers and stuff. Like it's wait, 33. How old are you now? If you don't mind my
57.
Oh, 50. Yeah, you're 49. I'll be 50 in September.
Oh, okay.
Um,
And once
yeah,
once you hit 50, it's just, we're just old.
it's all the same after that. Like
Yeah.
at 49, my amount of fucks have just dropped off completely.
That's the good part about getting old.
It really, I don't have time for any nonsense anymore.
It's the little reward you get for all the shit you had to deal with.
It kind of is. Like I feel like there's some things that I've got kind of worked out automatically, and then there's just I've really streamlined more of my existence.
Yeah, it's definitely I feel mentally better than I've ever felt in my life. It's just that your body starts kind of falling apart. It's just
Mind is strong, the body is weak.
So, how did you? Let's talk about the Scrooge project to make sure we get that promote that. Just get that in there because that's on a crowdfunding platform that I'd never heard of.
Yeah, it's
What's it called?
Zoop.
Zoop.
Yeah, ZOOP, and it's they've been. I met them in New York at the Comic-Con, and then for like a couple of years they really kept up and really they really just seemed very energetic and very enthused. And so I was like, you know what, I have a few crowdfunding projects that I want to do, and Scrooge was the first one, and it was very the most kind of complete of a project. So I was like, let's test it out and go through these guys for this. And so they've been great. They've been great so far. They'll make sure that the stuff actually ships on time.
Excellent.
As opposed to me being solo.
Oh man, I know. I'm still suffering from my big Kickstarter project that still is. I don't even want to talk about it. It was such a nightmare. It's still a nightmare. But that's good. You got people dealing with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I knew fulfillment was going to be important. That was one of those like I'm too old to be shipping out 80 boxes of something.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Scrooge is one of my favorite stories from when I was a kid. I mean, I got it from the movie versions. Like there was a 70s version, I forget, but it was color. I remember it was like a 70s color version with a really the ghosts were awesome in it. Really creepy. There's that. I haven't seen it in so long, but there's like the Angel of Death guy, and then there's the one with the bandage around his head.
Marley.
Yeah, Marley. And they're so good. And I used to watch it every year around Christmas, and it was like kind of it's kind of a great. It's like a Twilight Zone almost.
It's amazing. It's when I revisited the story doing this thing, it was just like it blew me away. And at first I was thinking, because of the different versions of it, I was thinking this was more of a kid's story in a way. Because I've seen like Muppets have done it and all these other guys have done it. So I'm like, oh, this must be kind of family friendly. It's not.
It's scary.
Itself, I told my wife, I called her, I'm like, this isn't a children's book. And she's like, what? I was like, it's like, if your kids like ghosts and regret, I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's totally dark. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's like a horror story kind of.
I'm like, you have this really fun stylized thing with the visuals because it's Christmas, but then it's
Right.
ghosts.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And a
It's
guy being
creepy stuff.
and a super evil dude. You
A
know,
super evil dude.
he's a
I mean,
bastard.
when you go back and when you read this, and I hope people like really buy this book to read it because it's the original Dickens text. It's 200 pages.
Oh, killer.
It's kind of like an adult kids book. It's like a page of text and an illustration. I've done 85 illustrations for this thing. It's a full
Wow.
book.
Amazing.
And so you know, especially given the Christmas idea of it, like the book starts off with the phrase like Marley was dead. Like let's be clear, Marley's dead. And like once you're going on to the second paragraph, and it's like I'm saying all this to reiterate the fact that we know Marley's dead. I'm like, why are you pushing this back so much? But I'm like, but that's how this starts. This
Right.
Christmas story is just like you need to understand. He's dead. So when we see him again, but I was like, it's just brilliant. Marley was dead. Like that's got to be understood. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah. That is amazing, and it's got a really cool ending. You know, kind of heartwarming ending, and it's also kind of scary, and it's a great story. It's a really good idea to do a graphic novel of it or whatever. I'm not sure what you're calling it, but it's amazing.
I guess it's illustrated novel. I guess
illustrated novel. Okay,
but it's so genuinely heartfelt. Like you know, there's a few movies that I've loved since I was a kid. Well, I love one of the original Alistair Sims Black and White was a really cool one.
Yeah, but I watched them all, by the way, recently or within the last year or two because I was during the holidays for my granddaughters. I'm like, I got to find the best one of them, and I watched all of them. So I've seen them all. They're awesome.
Oh my God, that's the one that hit me when I was young, and that it kind of became my staple each year was the Albert Finney kind of musical one.
This is the color one, right? Yeah, that's the one. That was mine too. That's the one I used to watch every year. Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about makeup. He was 34. And they made him just with theatrical makeup just look incredible, and acting with his little scrunched face. But like that movie makes me cry at the end every time. I can't not. It just bubbles up, and it's
that's why it's a classic, you know.
And for the book, that was there's kind of a formula, you know, with the illustrations and the text. But near the end, when things really ramp up with the Ghost of Christmas Future and him really kind of his, I guess, quote unquote, like coming to God moment, like I switch up the formula a little bit and really just kind of plow in through a couple of like 2-page spreads after 2-page spreads. So I want to try visually. I want to get that Albert Finney vibe. You know, I'm hoping like people are reading it and they're like, God damn, this art. And then when we get to this thing, like I want them to feel it. I'm hoping, you know, I want to try. It's the closest thing in a book that I want to try to get really like emotional reactions from.
I imagine that's a lot of pressure as an artist. Like you have certain points in the story that are so important to you that you're like, what's the best way I can make this as cool as possible for this 2-page spread? You know what I mean? And it's like, I imagine it'd be kind of hard to like pick one.
Oh, I have redrawn Chet so many times, like more than any other project, because the fun part with this was that I did all 85 illustrations in just pen and ink line art for an abridged kids book version 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And then the company wound up going under. So the book never was published. And so it was my wife finding the artwork and then asking me what this was. And I was like, oh, it's all this Scrooge stuff. I was like, oh shit, that company's gone. Let's just publish this stuff and kind of do a cash grab.
That's a great idea.
So then, of course, because I like to make things easier on myself, you start putting the book together and you're like, oh, that elbow is messed up. I'll fix that. They're like, oh, that eye is crooked. What if I put this like paper behind this? Or what if I do? And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this book once in my life. And it actually means something to me. And so I was like, all right. I chalked on the extra probably 4 or 5 months. And And then I was just like each illustration, just completely diving in and reimagining each one. Because
So
I was
you
like, I want this thing to rock.
so you redid all the old ones, or did you just kind of adjust them?
Some of them, I would say there's about 20% that I've kind of just, I used that structure and just built on top of and cleaned up stuff and then
Mm-hmm.
colored on top of it. And then a lot of the other ones, I just simply would turn into like, I would kind of turn into pencils and then just ink it and start the illustration on top of it,
Oh, okay. Okay.
cleaning up and redrawing as I went. But
Right.
but and then there was a good small percent that were just total redraws, and then a couple that I had to add because the narrative needed a little extra oomph.
Okay. And so these are all in ink, or
The originals are ink, and then everything else was done digitally.
oh, wow.
Playing on top of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the stuff that was sent to me looked amazing. I didn't even realize it was digital.
Thank you. That is, because it's been so many years of drawing and painting traditionally. Like that's one of the nice comments I get is that it's hard to tell with my digital work. It's hard to tell that it's digital.
Right.
But that's
cool.
because I draw pretty much the same way.
Right.
I have like 4 layers that I keep fucking myself up with. So yeah, if I'll put spatter directly on the layer with the line art like I would if I were drawing. And so because then if you're cleaning it up, it feels more natural.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I've never been able to match my painting style with my digital stuff. It's like whenever because I kind of learned digital in the effects world where I was doing concept art, creature design and stuff, and it just I kind of used I learned in Photoshop. I kind of used Photoshop's tools, the airbrush tool, the paintbrush tool, nothing special really. And so it's like all my digital stuff has a certain look, and then all my oil paintings have a certain look, and they're not they're not very much the same. Because it's like for creature design, it's not about your style. It's about presenting something that the director can go, okay, I like that. Something that can be built.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's more about like making it look real than it is about being painterly or anything. So I guess I never was incentivized in that way to try and learn that, but I kind of regret it. Because I feel like I don't know. I was doing digital when I first started painting. I did a lot of digital, but it always looked kind of like, oh, this is my version of digital, which wasn't bad. It just wasn't like my oil paintings,
Right. I don't think I would have if I bought a Cintiq and I was using Photoshop and I was learning that way and I hated it, and it wound up collecting dust for like a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
I inevitably wound up giving it to another illustrator friend of mine because I found the iPad and that pencil, the Apple Pencil, and that changed my shit. Like
is that what you're doing all that stuff on the iPad with
Procreate?
Procreate, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great program. It's
that
amazing.
thing, it's the most intuitive, like for painters. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going through like sub windows or anything else. I'm just like, oh, give me.
Yeah.
It's so it allows me to work fast.
Yeah.
When I'm grinding, I go.
Yeah. That's the benefit to digital. That's why we'd always use digital for concept design, because it's like,
oh yeah,
you can make changes easily and you can whip stuff out quickly, and it's more about speed and stuff. So
I love concept design digitally. I like that was just made for it.
Oh yeah, it's so fun, especially like photo bashing and stuff. It's like, don't worry about, just grab something and stick a building in the back, and don't worry about stealing some royalty for a licensed photo. It's like you're grabbing stuff off the internet and or taking photos and like using the liquify tool and tweaking things. It's just like so much fun. I love it.
That's awesome. Digital kind of won me over because I was a good purist for a little bit, but digital won me over when I was like finishing a cover painting in a Starbucks in Boston one morning. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like, I just put oil paint and then I just went on top of it with ink. And I was just like, oh, this is, I love it. I don't have to wait on drying time. I don't have to do,
Yeah, you don't have to scan it or get it photographed. It's
And
Yeah.
because I've started again in the studio, only in the last 2 weeks, I've started painting again, like physical,
Oh,
larger, and um, and I'm already like, oh yeah, this is a lot because it was I had gone through a quick round, and then I was like, oh, it's all wet, and I'm not a huge alla prima guy, so I was just like, well,
right.
I guess see you tomorrow.
Yeah. That's like, my process to the T. It's like, I'm trying to get everything I need to be done that night because I use liquid as a medium, so it will dry the next day, so I sort of have that routine.
You ever use Galkid?
Yeah, I use Galca, but it's like, is that what you use?
Mm.
Yeah, it was, when I
Between
first.
that and a little cobalt dryer, just to make sure
Oh,
that
cool.
it's going to be dry in the morning.
Are you thinning it with terps or
Oh,
something?
cobalt?
No,
Uh,
the Galca, because it's kind of
uh,
thick, right? It's like honey.
yeah. I'll get a new fresh bottle of Galkid and actually pour a little bit of terp in it
Oh,
and
okay.
shake it up and kind of thin it out a little bit.
That's what I was using that early on a lot. I really because I liked it, but it's like I didn't even know. Didn't even occur to me I could thin it. And I was like, this is too thick. It's getting sticky on me. And I just didn't even realize. And then I saw Shawn Barber painting, and it's like he's got a jar of terps and a jar of Galkid, and he dips it in the Galkid, and then he dips it in the terps, and then he puts it in the paint. It's just like, and it's
Ugh.
like, and he gets a really, it's amazing watching him do that. But yeah, I just got some of this. Have you ever tried this? Epoxide oil.
No, no.
I just found out about it. It's copolymerized linseed oil, and apparently it's supposed to dry overnight, but it's actually linseed oil that's been chemically altered.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've never heard of such a.
I just found out about it myself. It's from that naturalpigments.com, that Rublev. Yeah, they make it. So I'm
Did
about
you
to try it.
have you tried the cobalt, the dryer?
No, no. My dad used to use it. My dad was a painter. He used to use cobalt dryer.
Like you use the tiniest amount. It's kind of a
Right.
crazy. This is all stuff that I picked up from Kent when I was like,
Yeah,
because he would just go straight kind of thick Galkid, and so that's where I learned. Just he's a big glazer, man. He just like he'll get the underpainting and then he'll start just glazing different layers of paint on top of that.
yeah,
And so
yeah. I do that
between
too.
that and the cobalt, like, I know it's funny because someone will, just a lot of guys that would ask me like, why don't you just why don't you get acrylic and put stuff in it that makes it dry slower to make it more like oil? I was like, why? When I can just make oil dry
Yeah,
faster.
yeah, right. Yeah, well, because oil doesn't darken after it dries,
Mm,
and also glazing isn't the same because the medium you have to mix in makes it kind of whitish, and it's
yeah,
there's
yeah,
reasons.
yeah. That and I mean, I'm a fan of the palette knife, and I
Oh,
can't use
cool.
a palette knife with acrylic.
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty limited on my palette knife, but my friend Gabe Leonard, he's a really great painter. He's been using the palette knife a lot lately, and it's so cool.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Guys like Anselm Kiefer and these guys that use these big thick garb. Ah,
Yeah.
is what is this behind you? Is that that's not a book cover, is it? The
This?
skeleton. Yes.
Oh no, this is some commission someone wants me to do of my version of Van Gogh's smoking skeleton. It's just the underpainting. I got to start
Oh,
that today.
that's what they use. Okay, there's a David Sedaris book that has I think
Lo-
the Van Gogh
Oh,
smoking.
okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, I love David Sedaris. He's
When I
amazing.
saw that, I was like, "Oh shit, did you do that?"
I wish. Yeah, that's one thing I love about your work is that it's so messy. I just love that. I really admire that the ability to be messy and I don't know, tactile and like I don't know, just so much energy in it. I'm such like a
Yeah,
over painter and blender and detailer, and it's like I really have to get to do that. It's an effort for me, Whereas
yeah,
like naturally, I think it's because makeup effects. We're all about make it realistic, super refined, paint or sculpt all the pores in that thing. It's got to look like reality. And so it's so ingrained in me that I kind of take that approach with painting. And it's like, you know, it's valid like any other form, but I admire people, you know, I admire people that have the ability to just fucking make it look like you're going, ah, when you're painting it. That's what it feels like anyway.
There's at least one day out of each painting that it does happen. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you do just go nuts and like, but I mean, yeah, that's where like I get to enjoy more work like yours. Like I love looking at work that doesn't kind of look like mine.
Right. Yeah.
And
the grass is always greener with artists like that. It's like that, you know, we're always admiring each other's.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and when I see someone like painting more, you know, raw and messy, I think I'm way more analytical. It's like, no, you're literally just being messy. You're not.
Yeah.
I was like, have these conversations about like, oh my God, if anybody knew how long it took me to make this thing look like I didn't care.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, if anybody knew how many times I spattered the paint, wiped it off, then respattered it. I'm like, it's controlled chaos.
Right.
But when I see it uncontrolled and people are still like, oh, I'm raw, I'm like, yeah, you just sketchy. That's muddy.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah. That's what happens when you don't wipe it off until it's right. You know, you do it the first time and you say, it's raw.
Yeah. That's when you're just excited and just making things with paint. I'm like, you got to make the thing. So before we jump off of it, the Scrooge book has two more, it has like 2 more weeks through the crowdfunding. And there's tons of like sketches and original art and all of that stuff to go along with the crowdfunding. But for people watching and listening and all that, it's going to be this nice 10 by 10 hardcover tome of Scrooge, and it should be nice and creepy for Christmas.
Oh yeah, everybody who listens to this podcast should support and get it. I mean, I saw some sample pages and it's amazing. You're gonna love it. Everyone out there, it's right up everybody's alley who listens to this podcast. But it will probably only be a week by the time this airs, which is next Wednesday. So it'll probably be just another week after that, right?
So get on it.
Yeah, so get on it. So we only got a week. So get your ass in gear.
That's right. Because the work itself is it's different from what I normally do, because I wanted to keep a certain level of energy, and so I didn't like what I normally do would be shoot reference and then make everything kind of super realistic and scary. Mm-hmm. But in this one, I continued just inking on top of it and all that freehand and cartooning and really enjoying like exaggeration and energy and all of that. And by the end, like I'm finishing the thing now, and I told my buddy, I was just like, I think I kind of have a new vision for where I want my art to go.
Awesome.
And he's like, what's that? I was like, I kind of want it to look like Tex Avery meets the movie Pie.
Oh, wow. That sounds kind of amazing. No, I can guarantee you nobody else is doing that.
I'm like, how can I exaggerate and play and then make it look really depressing and grainy?
That sounds amazing. That's what happens when I find when you allow yourself, for so long you get stuck in a rut where you're like doing commissions and it's more, you got to like output and you've got everything lined up. And when you allow yourself time to work on a passion project or something you really are into, or just like allow yourself to play, you end up that's how you get for me anyway, that's how I've gotten the ideas of where I want to move to next, or how to expand on my style or whatever, you know?
It comes in your own, like, even if you're drawing, it's not like you're doing your other work a disservice, but it's a different mentality of like, I'm doing this for this person, and it needs to impress or look this way, so they like, you know.
Yeah, what they're expecting. It's gotta, you know.
Yeah, everything is just open. Like when it's your project, not only you're considering every nuance of something interesting for you to try, but then you're right. It opens these doors that, you know, it really makes you not want to do other people's work anymore.
You've done a lot of your own projects, right? Comic book projects, like.
Yeah.
Do you do more like properties that already exist, or your own stuff, or what's the balance you have?
I did my own I did my own comic for about 10 issues about now it's probably 9 years ago. And it was at a time when I was kind of I could have done better with like, I didn't educate myself as much as I should have on like the industry workings. It's been so many years. I've worked for so many publishers. I'm like, oh wait, I forgot about just going to stores and, face to
Right.
faces and all that. And so since then I've been mostly doing work for hire stuff on Spawn. I did
Mm-hmm.
like a 2 year run, and then I do have like IPs and creator owned stuff, but it's been with writers. Like Philadelphia is a
Mm-hmm.
series I did, but with a writer co-partner or a
Okay.
co-creator. Um, Everything with like Scrooge, even though it's with something, Dickens writing, it's my project where I can play with it and take it where I want. And
Right.
like you said, like that got me back into everything. And so I'm almost finished with issue 1 of Empty Zone for the new series. And I would like next year just to be writing and drawing my own things
Yeah.
and then just be doing that. And
Yeah, yeah. I imagine it's the most fun to do your own work, but the other stuff pays better. The established IP stuff. That's my guess. But
both. I mean,
oh,
especially if you're going through Image, where it's all based on residuals. Like it really comes down to how well your book did.
oh,
If
cool.
your book sells well. I mean, I've made off my previous, go at it with Image. At least the first 4 issues were the same, if not more, than I would have made at DC or Marvel.
That's amazing. That's like the dream.
I'm like, I have a different appreciation for it now, and like I'm very excited. I think I was even a little, not probably pretentious. Like I'm like, you know what? I've done comics for 15 years, and I do all this fine art, and like people are gonna show up,
Uh,
and that is all the promotion I did.
okay.
People will show up.
Yeah.
And I'm
Uh,
fortunate that they showed up enough to not make me cry, but I'm like,
yeah.
I'm super excited to kind of know what the fuck I'm doing this time and to like really launch. Because this time when I launch the book, I don't want to let go. I want to just keep
Yeah.
my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to get
I,
guys like you on the covers.
hell yeah. I so want to get into comics, man. I'm telling you, I've been saying it on the podcast. I've had Tim Malloy on a couple times, who's done some really cool indie comics. This one called Mr. Unpronounceable, really, really cool. And I've had Steve Niles on before, and it's like it's been a dream since I was in high school. I actually started one in high school, and that's all I ever did with comics. It's like I got like 3 panels that were sort of like derivative of Heavy Metal magazine, because I was into that at the time. And I just, for whatever reason, I stopped and I never got back to it. And it's just been this dream in my head. And now I've got this whole reality I've painted over the last 20 years. It's like I'm dying to do a comic of it. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I've got the dystopia book I kickstarted that I kind of did this. Well, I had the same situation with my book and my Kickstarter. It's 400 pages. It's like this massive 6-pound book or something. But it's got like all the details of the world and the rules and the characters. But it's all, yeah, it's all my paintings, but kind of laid out almost like a Bible or a guidebook for that world. And so now it's like I can do this. I can do the comics now. But I did the same thing with the book. It was such a struggle to get it done. It took me 5 years to get it done just because I could not wrap my head around it. And, it basically came, and the only people that got it are the people that did the Kickstarter, and then people who see it on my website. And it's like, I have done no promotion. It's like my masterpiece. This thing is so amazing. It's like this beautiful, amazing book. It's my life's work. And it's like, nobody really knows it exists except people that are like super fans. So, I mean, I know what you mean about, not promoting it, but it's like, it's so hard when you're trying to keep the wheels from falling off everything else, and you're just hustling all the time,
Yeah. I mean, there's most of it, like I saw somebody with a funny Instagram post about it, but like it was just throughout the day, if I'm watching TV or if I'm hanging out, I'm like, I should be drawing.
Oh yeah. Totally, man.
I'm like, shit, things are due. What am I doing? Living a life.
I know.
Like,
I know. I did that Sunday. I was like, okay, I'm going to take a day off Sunday. And I ended up like sculpting this little head, this Albert Hoffman, the inventor of LSD. Someone wants me to commission me to do like a larger bust. I'm like, I'm going to try this out. And I just couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down.
That's hilarious.
It's like totally blew my relaxing day, but it was fun though.
But that's what it is.
I know. We'd be doing it anyway, I guess is the point.
I was doing a small drink and draw just on Monday with a couple of guys, and I'm like, it's got to be only artists that like. I was like, dude, I did 12 hours today busting out these covers and these pages. Now I just want to sit back with a beer and relax and draw.
Yeah, it's almost like if it's not for work,
it is truly, like that's a gift. Like it's like my writer friend, Mike Rodney, would sit beside me at shows and just look at me like, you don't even know we're here, do you? You don't even care. He's like, you just entertain yourself. Because I was sitting there, I was like, I'll draw Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, if there's nothing else to do, it's like, yeah, of course. That's what we do.
It's an amazing thing to be able to like sit there and be bored, and then at the end of it, have like a picture.
I know, right? That's why you put all the hard work in to learn to do it, so that you can do it without thinking. That's when it's really fun,
Right. This is the Picasso line. Like it took me 20 years to be able to do this in 5 minutes. Like
right. Exactly.
Yeah, man. That kind of thing. Yeah, and then I can just always give him flack. I was like, well, if you sat here, you'd have a nice paragraph to show people. Because everybody wants to read.
Right. Yeah, I feel bad for writers because it's like you could show someone a picture, but if you got a page of words, people are going to be like, too long, didn't read.
That's it. Like, yeah. And I remember he was telling me he had pitched Philadelphia for a good little while in Hollywood and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. To not a lot of avail. And then, because it's my answer and it's not meant to insult writing. It's meant to insult mostly people that don't like to read. But I'm like,
right.
you should add picture. And so once we did like the first issue of the comic and nobody had to use their imagination or stretch, they could just see it. Then it got picked up. Then, it's pretty much stayed an option deal, but we had an option deal and stuff. That's like cool. That. But,
yeah.
But yeah, once there's pictures, man. It changes everything.
See, we are needed.
Yeah, my goal next year when I'm starting, when Empty Zone starts and all of that, is to start it, preferably at Image, but like as my own imprint. Mm-hmm. Because I have a couple of ideas for anthologies and things like that I would love to be able to like bring you on and not have to like ask permission, just like,
oh hell yeah,
I want to do a book where Chet draws like 10-page stories. I'm like, that's what I want.
Yeah, cool. I'm down. Just hit me up, man. I'm looking to break in.
Do it. Well, you're usually gonna have to do a cover.
What's that?
You're gonna have to do a cover.
Oh yeah. I can't believe I've never done a cover. It's like I want to do a cover. I don't really know any. The comic scene is so different than the art scene, is so different than the effects scene. It's like they're all little, not click in a bad way, but cliques of people that hang out. And it's like, if there's no crossover, it's like, how do you meet people like that? I guess like this. This is how you do it. I have them on my podcast.
This is how it happens. Like, who are all these people on your list? I'm like, I'm trying to get work.
Well, it's like, the podcast is amazing for me because I'm, like all artists, I'm a recluse. I just make art. I hardly hang out. And I get an hour or two, whatever, with people I know, but I've never actually sat down with a beer with,
Yeah.
And it's like, it's great in that way for me. I feel like, it's very fulfilling in that way.
I like that. I don't have the podcast part. So I started doing these drink and draws on like every other Mondays or something.
Oh, cool.
my wife is yelling at me to go get some friends.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Get out of the house. You got to see.
She's always taking the kids, and she's like, "We're going with my friend and their family, and my friend and their family," and I'm just like,
"Oh my God!" I know.
I was like, "I'll see some guys at Comic-Con."
Yeah. So, when did you? Were you one of the? I'm sure you. I'm sure this is true, but I have to ask because not every artist has this story. But were you someone that has been drawing since you could hold a pencil?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My dad. He's still around, but he was an amateur artist. You know, always.
Cool.
Always drawing and all that. He was wound up getting like drafted out of college and all that, and so his life turned.
Right.
But yeah, I just growing up in this little small trailer out in the middle of the country, and he would be drawing these cliffs and stuff with pencil, but these cliffs would have like faces in the rocks and stuff, and it just blew my little 5-year-old mind. And I was just, and at that time, like I would have him. Literally, I forget what they were called, the little vision things where you could click the thing and it would turn a disc.
Oh yeah.
But I had one for Michael Jackson's Thriller, and then I would have him like go to like the werewolf changing scenes and like draw that for me, draw that mid change or whatever. And great. So I think not only did I just really like drawing and all that, but I think it was also like a way to like connect with Dad. You know, like it was this way of like, oh, I like this guy, and he likes the fact that I draw. You know, so.
Right, yeah. That's cool. He must be so stoked to see your success.
He's thrilled. He is, yeah. No, he's a happy guy. Like it makes me happy every time I'm coming at him. Like, oh, there's an album cover here or this happened there. And he loves it.
That's super cool, man. That's great. So
yeah, I was fortunate there. I had a lot of friends, of course, with the parents that weren't thrilled.
Yeah. I know. Same. I was just talking about this in the last episode. How, you know, I have friends whose parents said they were possessed by the devil because they were into horror movies, you know, and it's like my parents were 100% on board with my drawing and stuff, even the weird shit.
Yeah. My mom is the horror fan who was letting us watch movies we shouldn't watch.
Oh, really?
Way too early. And then she was the one that was like, oh, yeah, we were a little nervous about you for a while because, like, my entire side of my room was just wallpapered with pages from Fangoria. The light switch was like a Freddy face I cut out where you had to, like, it was like his tongue or whatever. Like, special effects and gore and, like, and Fangoria rarely did, like, sexy poster pullouts. Like,
right.
They were like, one guy was just pulling his brain out of his ear. It was called Brainham. And like that was a poster.
Yeah.
Like, and on the ceiling and everything, it was just horror and like not the pretty stuff. And like
right.
They were like we were a little nervous. I was like, it's so amazing.
Yeah, right.
What was it? Then when I was 16 or 17, the Right comic book came out, and I was just like, wait, what's that?
What got you started on comics? What was it? Which comics were it? My
brother was into them, but they all looked boring because there was like 80s comics.
Mm-hmm.
And then and I kept trying to get into them. Something that was alluring, but then it was McFarlane. Yeah, once I saw those Amazing Spider-Man, and then it wasn't very long until Spider-Man #1 of his series came out, and it blew me away. Yeah, it just graphically seeing so much energy and organic stuff and all that. Like, he was the first guy I truly just like I aped. I would study and do everything. I could probably still draw like McFarlane. And then and I was so excited. And I was doing all these samples and all of that, and then I forget how it ended up in my hands, but like I wound up getting a copy of the first issue of The Crow.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, what the fuck is this? And then when I got when I finished up and got the whole set, again, it was the first time a comic had made me get choked up and like really take me emotionally. And I was like, I didn't know this was possible.
Wow.
And so I was just like, holy shit. And then I guess maybe even felt like the horror stuff and all of that in a
Right. Yeah.
way.
Yeah. It's darker stuff, you know?
And then I just became like, I was like, this is the path. This is the way. I was like, independent black and white comics is my life. That's my future from now on.
And then there you went. That's amazing.
There I went. I got obsessed over everybody. I went Will Eisner and the Turtles, everything that was just black and white comics. Just made me happy.
Yeah. I got, my experience with comics were the EC horror comics. I don't know where I got them from, because they were like from the 50s and 60s, but somehow when I was a little kid in the 70s, they were around. And also like I had a book, a Mad Magazine book that was like all the art from Mad Magazine from the 50s and the 60s, and it had all these old comics guys, Jack Davis and Will Eisner, and I would just I just couldn't believe, like, it was just, I would look through that book all the time. Just the artwork was so amazing, incredible. Yeah. I still think, comic book artists are like the best artists in the world. They're like, they're it seems to me, and I'm not in the industry, but it seems to me like they're the most well-rounded. They can kind of draw out of their head more than most artists. And they have so much repetition, because you're drawing panels.
Yeah.
So it's like, whereas a painter's like, okay, I'm going to plan out a painting, I'm going to make a painting, I'm going to spend a couple weeks on it. It's like, the comics guys are going like, okay, I got to do like 15, 20 drawings a day here. And it's like that kind of repetition really is what makes you really a great draftsperson,
It does. I will, even though I don't know much about military service, but I would say the comic book guys were the Marines of the illustration world.
Right.
Because I was like, yeah, you do an editorial illustration. I'm like, look at that cool drawing. I was like, but in comics, you're like, sweet, do 4 more, and then that's a page.
Yeah, right.
Then see you tomorrow to do it again.
Yeah, it's like a boot camp for being an artist in a way.
There was a cover artist friend of mine talking about getting into or wanting to do interiors, and I was just like, well, what do you mean? Like you want to do one book in your life that you've done or whatever? And you're like, oh no, interiors. I was like, you have to like want that. Like, it's not like oh, I would like to draw. Like, you have to like want to do storytelling. Like,
right.
It has to be that mentality versus I want to draw comics, because you will get exhausted and burn out if you just wanted to draw panels. But
right.
If you want to tell stories visually, it, like, for me, I love the little stuff. I love whether it has a panel border, whether it doesn't, whether it, I love pacing. I love openness between it. Like, how I design that page is so exciting to me, to try to gear the reader's eye. And I was just like, oh, okay, I'm doomed to do this the rest of my life. I truly, I didn't do covers. I didn't even do my own covers for the longest time, because I'm like, oh, that's like graphic commercial stuff.
Right.
I'm better at telling stories.
Huh.
I had to make a choice at some point, probably, about 5 years ago, of like, I wanted to be a cover artist. But it really took a shift in thinking, because up until then I was doing paintings that I would put on covers, but they weren't the best covers. They were good paintings.
Right. Yeah.
There's a commercial aspect that I wasn't allowing myself, where I was being a little too pretentious to grab onto.
Right.
And I was like, dude, you have to be graphic. You have to grab people.
Right.
So I found, there's a lot, even in comics, there's a little high horse to get off of every once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Every industry has that, I suppose.
How often do you show?
I usually show once a year at Copro. I do a solo show, and then I'll do a few, although I took this year off to get caught up on commissions and stuff. But I show, once a year, and then a few group shows here and there. And then the rest of the time I'm just selling my shit, ranting on Instagram to try and get people to buy my stuff that I'm selling from my website, and commissions and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. But I'm looking to
The
branch
millions
out.
of things we have to do.
Yeah, exactly. I just want, I'm looking, I'm looking to, you know how it is. You always want to keep growing and expanding and trying new things. So, I mean, I'm going to do that dystopia comic. I'm going to do it at some point. I've been talking about it. I took this year off so that I could maybe have time next year to start even attempting to think about it. Like, I'm not even letting myself think about it. I have the basic story, but I'm not even like letting myself think about it, because I'm just going to get distracted from all this other shit that's been piling up over the last 10 years. I got to finally deal with, you know how it is.
Dude, even getting back to my to my own series. I was like, no, I have to finish Scrooge pages today, and I have a painting over here, and then I'm doing a mini series with McFarlane right now called The Freak, and it's this 6 issues just horror, scary stuff.
Cool.
But that's the stuff that pays the bills,
Right?
while I'm getting the other stuff launched. And so it's like I just look at the calendar and see like, oh, it's been 3 weeks since I touched Empty Zone. I'm like, okay.
Hey, that's every year for a solo show for me. It's like I always have my show around fall because it's like Halloween. So it's like October is when I usually have my solo show, and then January is like, okay, I got like 9 months to do this show, and then but I have to keep paying the bills, and I have to keep hustling, and I just start getting my ideas down. Boom, I gotta pay a bill again, and then it goes and goes and goes, and I push it to the 3-month point, and then I end up. Every fucking time. Every time I'm like, I'm gonna at least give myself 7 or 8 months, or and then it goes 6 months, and then 5 months, but it's like I know in 3 months I can do it. It's gonna suck, but I can do it because that's what all my shows have been painted in 3 months, and then it's like I kill myself for 3 months, and so that's why this year I'm like I got to take a break, or I'm gonna be on this hamster wheel for the rest of my life. This is no way to live.
Right.
It's
And
painful.
that's next year for me with it, and because again, like it was every time I'd be like, I would get a couple of pages done, and then it would be another month because I have to go crank out an issue or something like that to actually pay rent, and I'm like, oh, this is going to continue for forever unless
Yep.
and it's easy to fall into that because then you're like, well, how do you make it not continue? And just like, and unfortunately the answer, it's dropping something, or it's a little bit more time for a while, but it's the payoff is going to be so much better,
right?
To just be able to do your own thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to see you draw comics now.
Oh man, I'm dying. I'm really like I have such a hunger to do it. It's just like every time I see a comic, a friend of mine who's done a comic or something, I'm just like, oh, I want to do it so bad. I'm dying. But I'm not even like I said, I'm not even going to think about it until I get my commissions done, and they're almost done. So
nice.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of paintings and like monsters and stuff you do for commissions, or is it more specific stuff like the portrait or the bust?
No, it's usually monster stuff. Yeah, usually the people that commission me ask for the weird. They like my weird stuff. So
yeah, you're one of the guys my wife doesn't like to look at. So that's a compliment.
My wife's always like, "Can you turn that painting around?"
Yeah. Dude, like look at this one. She goes, "Oh God."
Yeah, I know. It's funny because I've been doing these skull flowers. I don't know if you've seen these paintings where it's like a skull and a big flower sticking out of the eye socket, and they're different than my normal thing. I was messing around and came up with this idea, and they're the most popular things I've ever done. And it's like I finally have paintings that men and women like. Because before it was like, and it's like, I'm not sexist or anything at all. Yeah. It's like, I'm very feminist kind of guy, but it's like, I can't tell you how many times I've had a man, it's usually dudes, most of my audience is dudes, tell me like, I want to buy that painting, but my wife doesn't like it because it's freaky. And it's like, I get it. It's a different sensibility, but I finally like struck this balance where they both like it. Like the women like it too. And it's like, oh, thank God. Cause I felt like kind of an asshole before.
Yeah.
It's like only guys like my stuff. That's kind of, I mean, I like women better than guys generally. It's like I have more in common with their personalities than dudes, I think. So it's like I feel like I'm betraying you, but
that's one of the best compliments I get, is that when I've given some books to like an artist friend or somebody I've met, and they're like, dude, you're like, my wife likes your stuff. You know,
Yeah.
like, she was flipping through it, and
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, they're like, she normally doesn't like anything. As a matter of fact, I push my work, like especially on things like Freak and Philadelphia, until I can get that same response from my wife of like, oh God. As soon as she says, oh God, then I know I can quit. I can stop the page. She's like, I don't even like looking at that. This face you did. I'm like, yes.
Nailed it.
Then I know it's scary. Then it's good.
Yeah, yeah. What is Philadelphia? Just real quick. What's the story basically? The idea.
Saying that it's a detective vampire book kind of does it a bit of a disservice.
Oh, okay.
It's right now. It's got 35 issues. You can get 6 volumes of it, and it's I would say, I mean, not only is it like written very emotively between this father and son detective, but the vampire thing is fantastic. Then we mix in the founding fathers who are vampires and have a whole other thing that they got going on.
Amazing.
By issue 8, we've introduced Matt. Like, it's really more of a Vertigo. It's kind of like Sandman if Sandman had a non-white cast.
Wow. Okay. Sounds awesome, man.
Rodney Barnes, and Rodney was one of the main writers on the Boondocks back in the day.
Oh, okay. Wow.
He created Uncle Ruckus.
No way. That's so cool.
So having that guy write a horror political comic is pretty amazing.
Sounds amazing. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to pick that up. That's so cool.
You should. Like, it's like some things I'm just like, oh yeah, check it out. Check out the art. Don't even worry about the, but the story is so goddamn good. Like,
oh, excellent. Okay, I'm gonna get it on my comics journey to help inspire me to make my own. So
it'll do it. It makes me excited, mostly because I'm really like, without trying to sound like a dick, I've polished a lot of turds in my life as far as like of like scripts.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't have to polish it. If anything, like, he and I are like constantly challenged each other to see if we could live up to the other work.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, yeah, it's a good series.
Does he deal with all the writing and you deal with all the art, or is there any back and forth collaborating? Or
only if I've gotten tired of drawing something, but for the most part, I love where he's going with it, and like, and yeah, like we have very similar visions, and so like his words really match up with what's going on in my head, and vice versa.
That's the best.
I don't know if it happened. Like, I think he's your age. I think he's 57, and we have the same birthday. And I was just like, wow. I told him, I was like, that's got to be some kind of link as to how we think.
Yeah,
similar.
That's so cool. Yeah, finding a person like that you can collaborate with, where you spur each other on, is like gold.
Yeah, he's been my favorite writer to work with. Period.
Amazing.
And then other than me.
Well, that's awesome. I don't want to keep you on because I know they said you only had an hour, so I think we're just over an hour. So yeah, any final I guess, go to, what's the web address, or how do they find it? I'll put the link in the description of the podcast also, but if you want to just say it.
Yeah, it's not a .com, so it's Zoop, ZOOP .gg. I don't know what a .gg is, but that's what it is.
Okay.
And if you go there, you'll find it, but if you can throw the link up, that would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
But
no, go ahead.
But yeah, the Scrooge book is there. It's going to have probably a week, and then it'll absolutely be out by October, November, so you have it before the holidays. And yeah, and then hopefully I can make my imprint next year and publish Chet's Art Comics.
Just call me, man.
Dude, I love it.
Well, thanks for coming on, dude. I'd love to have you back. I could talk to you for hours. So maybe next time you have something you need to promote, you can come back on and we could talk a little longer. And yeah, huge fan of your work. So I
Thanks, man.
was happy
We'll get you out to a drink
on.
and draw.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll force you and me out.
Right. I'm not that far. I mean, I'm in the area, but cool. So don't hang up after I stop recording. I always forget to tell people that. And just say goodbye to the audience. That's what we do at the end. You say goodbye in your own special way.
Goodbye in my own special way.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening.